Okay, can you hear me? Okay, can you hear me? Okay. Okay. I think I'm ready. Hello, everybody. How are you this week? I hope you had fun playing with receiving last week and that you have discovered that maybe some things are changing in your life. Between expanding yourself out and receiving, what else is possible? So today I wanted to present a completely different tool for you. Today it's about judgment. Now, when I grew up, I always thought judgment was a good thing. Like, were you a good judge of character? And like, I was in 4-H and I was on the livestock judging team. And so to judge something was to judge how good it was, but also you judge how bad it was, why it wasn't worthy, why it wasn't good. So judgment, even a good judgment, can kind of turn on you and go backwards. Judgment of any kind is limitation, and it's a lie, because because I feel that way or believe that way does not mean it's true. It's an interesting point of view I have, right? It's a point of view. It's nothing more than that. And maybe somebody else has a completely different idea about it. We all have different experiences, different requirements in this world, and to be in judgment of anyone and anything is very, very limiting and just a lie. It's a point of view, nothing more. So what would it take to let go of all the judgments that you've been hanging on to, all the judgments that other people have made of you that you thought were so real, viable, and valuable that you could not let them go? Can you uncreate, destroy all of that times a godzillion? And how many of those judgments have limited you your whole life? Somebody told you, like I remember I used to be told I was a dingy blonde, and so I always thought, well, then I'm dingy and I'm not smart and I'm not capable of creating anything in my life. I'm destined to be nothing. So, how silly was that? How many people have told you, oh, you can't do that? So you thought, oh, okay, so I can't. All of these are just judgments. Maybe it was a judgment like, oh my God, you're prom queen. You're so beautiful. You're so amazing. So blah, 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 blah. And then 5 years later, you're not a prom queen. You're pregnant. You're fat. And so then you judge the crap out of yourself because you're not what you were at one time. So even a great judgment can turn into something really negative. So any kind of judgment, let's just let it go. It doesn't create greater in your life. It limits you. It limits your points of view. It limits what's possible for you because you buy into the lie. You buy into the limitation. What if you could take a judgment, and I bet you can come up with one really quickly because we have so many judgments coming at us from all different sides every day, and especially judgments of ourselves. So let's start with judgments that you have of yourself. And maybe they were planted by somebody else, but you believe them. Okay, so think of some judgment that you have of yourself. And then I want you to say, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And say it over and over again, thinking about that judgment, right? So let's play with this. Get your judgment, get the feeling of that judgment that you have of yourself, whether it's that you're not smart enough, that you aren't good with money, that you are a spendthrift, that you are a lousy cook, I don't know, whatever your judgment of you is. I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, my boobs aren't big enough, my feet are crooked, I don't know. What is your judgment of you? Now, what I'd like you to do is get the energy of that judgment. And now I want you just to keep saying over and over again, interesting point of view, I have that point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And start to feel that energy coming up bigger. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And keep doing it. And you will feel that the energy comes up, and then finally it just keep saying it over and over and over. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. A lot of times I literally pull the energy right off of me. I feel it coming up and I'm just like, interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And just let it go. Dissipate and release all of that energy. And you feel yourself getting lighter. It's like all of a sudden, oh, I don't have to like feel like that about myself. That feels way better. Okay, now take an interesting point of view you have of somebody else. You know, like sometimes when you're driving down the street and a guy pulls out in front of you and you go, asshole. All right, so here's the difference between a judgment and an awareness. If it is a judgment, you have got emotion attached to it. You're pissed off, you're angry, you're agitated, you're frustrated, whatever else, right? You know it's a judgment when you have some sort of emotion attached to it. When you can say, oh, that guy's being an asshole, because people are. But when you can do that with no emotion attached to it, you're not going into trauma drama. You're not going into any kind of judgment. You're just like saying it like, oh, there's a chair. Do you have any emotion attached to a chair? There's a chair. It's just an observation. Oh, there's a chair. Okay. Oh, there's an asshole. Don't you love that? Okay, so what I want you to do is get a hold of the energy of something that has really come up in your world with somebody else. Okay, that you have a lot of emotion around. Okay, so now what I would like you to do is start interesting point of view. Get the energy of it. And interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. And wait till you start feeling the energy moving, because you know it's starting to shift. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. You're not sitting there dwelling on all the shit that's attached to it. You are simply emptying your mind and being interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Letting all of that energy dissipate and release. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view, I have this point of view. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. There it goes. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Like dandelion fluff, right? It just goes. How awesome is that? Simple tool. Now, this is another fun thing you can do with that same tool, slightly different wording, is when somebody starts spewing all their stuff at you, like politics, religion. These are really good examples where people are really pounding you with their points of view. Just in your head, you can even say it out loud once. Interesting point of view, you have that point of view. And then keep running it in your head the whole time. And what it does is it just dissipates it before it ever hits your body. You don't take any of their energy on. You are simply releasing all of that icky energy back to the universe. Interesting point of view, you have this point of view. Interesting point of view, you have that point of view. Interesting point of view, you have that point of view. It's almost like a little shield that just reflects it right back on them. Anyway, a couple of fun tools there for you to play with this week. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view, or interesting point of view. You have that point of view. Good luck, have fun, play with it, and join me again next week for another fabulous tool. Bye.